You're not worthy to be my son's wife. So, divorce him right away. Yes, I'd love to, I replied cheerfully to my mother-in-law's words. I'd been waiting for this moment for a long time. My name is Sophia. My husband Matthew and I have been blessed with 2 daughters. My daughters grew up healthy and happy, and I have no complaints about my life. But I have one huge concern, which is my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law is an expert bully and obsessed with the idea of being the eldest son and heir. My husband is the eldest of the 3 sons. He was the first to get married and the first to have children. Our older daughter was my mother-in-law's first grandchild. But we don't need a girl. Why can't she have a boy when she is the eldest son's wife? Mom, a child is a gift. There's nothing you can do about it. So don't talk like that. Well, if you say so. My husband defended me, but my mother-in-law wouldn't even hold my daughter. I knew she wanted a boy, but I thought seeing the face of the first grandchild would change things a bit. I never thought it would be this bad. Who are we to be concerned about boys and girls nowadays? And my mother-in-law's sarcasm escalated when I gave birth to a second child, a girl. It's really disappointing that you came to our house and can't produce an heir. What a useless wife you are. You must be a useless person with a rotten nature. That's why you can't have birth to a boy. If you had a good wife, you'd have a boy. I've given birth to 3 boys. No. It has nothing to do with that. If she thinks she is right to say such a thing, she's out of her mind. Besides, why weren't you born a boy? I really wish you had been a boy.
Grandma, I can't be a girl. Am I bad?
You're not good at all. And you're not so clever like your mother. Hey, please, stop it. What? I was just telling the truth. My mother-in-law even verbally abused my daughter. I couldn't stand it anymore. I told my husband in tears that I didn't want to go to in-law's house. She said horrible and hurtful things to our daughters. I can't let our daughters see your mother anymore. Okay, I got it. You don't have to go to my parents' house.
Thank you. I'm glad you understand.
But we can't miss New Year's gathering, okay?
To be honest, I didn't want to go, even for that New Year's gathering. But it's a once-in-a-year thing, and my husband is the eldest son, so I had no choice. Anyway, I try not to have anything to do with my in-laws other than that. But recently, after work and on his day off, my husband goes to his parents' house for any reason he can think of. I was at my peak. Even though I am a stay-at-home mom, it is hard to take care of my daughters and do all the housework alone. I am working tirelessly to take care of the house and the children. And yet, I can't understand why he is relaxing at his parents' house. Where's Daddy? Why won't he play with us?
I think he's at Grandma's house. The girls are getting nervous about their dad isn't home. You haven't spent time with the girls lately, have you? They miss you so much. You are a father. You should spend more time with your daughters. Stop nagging me. I'm trying to defend you from my mom wanting to have a boy. So don't be selfish. It's harder for me to stand in between you and her. And I'm tired from work. Most wives in the world would work things out with their in-laws. You should be able to do it to begin with. When I talk to my husband about my daughters, he gets mad. Is it selfish of me to ask him to spend time with his daughters? What my mother-in-law is doing to me and my husband and my daughter's situation
are not the same thing. I began to have bad feelings toward my husband, who lost his temper over such things. Then, the family gathering came, and we went to his parents' house as planned. Every year during New Year's, all the relatives got together. My husband's younger brother had a baby boy recently. The youngest brother, the third son, just got married. My mother-in-law doesn't let go of the baby boy. It's a relief that we have an heir. Finally. Good boy. You're the heir. My mother-in-law never treated my daughters like that. As long as it's a boy, she's happy. Now, you wives, get the dishes ready. It's your job. My mother-in-law told us to serve the food and to pour the drinks. While my mother-in-law, my husband, his brothers, and relatives were enjoying drinking and chatting, we were working behind the scenes. And you, girls, go to the kitchen and learn how to cook or something. It's okay. You don't have to. Stay with me. Our daughters were also about to be sent away to the kitchen by my mother-in-law. I can't believe she doesn't hesitate to show that she loves the boy and hates the girls. It's terrible. She treats them like that? Oh, yeah, that's her. It happens all the time. I just couldn't believe my eyes. She was terrible. Oh, it's your first year, huh? That's what she is, unfortunately. I'm fed up with her pushing me for a grandchild or an heir. We happen to have a boy, but I don't think it's fair to say that he's cute because he's a boy. She kept telling me to give birth to a boy from the beginning of my pregnancy. She's serious about it, isn't she? My mother-in-law's attitude has made all the wives feel uncomfortable. Having a mother-in-law like this, I can't help but be concerned about our future. The baby boy was cuddled and cherished by one relative after one another. My mother-in-law seemed pleased with herself, and she began to bully me as usual. My second son's wife gave birth to a boy. But I'm disappointed that my eldest son's wife is useless and can't give birth to a boy. I don't know what on earth she became a member of our family. When she got drunk, she got even more heated. She's not the right wife for us. What kind of upbringing did she have that she can only give birth to girls? You should divorce her and get a new wife. Mom, what are you talking about? Well, even if your wife can't have a boy, we're safe now. We have this baby boy. He's not the eldest son's boy, but it works too. I'll have to put up with that. It's true. I guess I'm more comfortable here. Maybe I'll get a new wife and move in here. Yes, you should. All the relatives laughed at my mother-in-law's and husband's words. Not only my mother-in-law, but even my husband made fun of me. What kind of a joke is this? This can't just be a joke because of the alcohol. I wish my husband would stop fooling around and comes to his senses. That was terrible. Saying stuff like that and laughing all together. Oh my gosh. My husband is laughing too. Yes, they are all insane. Every one of them are. We're completely pissed off. The three of us decided to have our revenge. And a year passed by, and another new year is here. As usual, all the relatives gathered at my parents-in-law's house. Hey, you! Bring more bottles of wine here and start cooking. Girls, go to the kitchen. Hush now. And you, my sweet little boy, look how handsome you are. You are the heir of this family. As usual, my mother-in-law keeps the wives busy.
began to push my daughters into the kitchen, having the grandson by her side, and all the relatives are happy to see him grow up. The firstborn son's wife is worthless because she can only give birth to girls. Why did he marry such a wife? It's a fraud that she can't have a boy. My mother-in-law's usual bully has begun. And then, you know what? You are not worthy to be my son's wife. So, divorce him. Right away. When you are done serving the food, go home. Pack your things and leave. You can take your daughters with you. They maybe become an inconvenience to my son's next marriage. What a sudden declaration. I was surprised by her unexpected word. But it might be a perfect opportunity. Okay, I'd love to. I'll gladly divorce him. But he should take the blame. I stepped forward and confronted him with the divorce papers. What? What? You're the one who can't produce an heir. Even if it's the case, I am still his wife. A wife is a wife. Do you know what it's called when a man has an affair with another woman while he's still married? It's called adultery. I put the envelope in front of him and handed it to all the relatives. What? How did this... What? Is this? Inside the envelope was a picture of my husband and the scene of the affair. My husband and my mother-in-law roll their eyes. The relatives are in an uproar. So, you are legally responsible for the affair. See you in the court. What are you talking about? You're the one who can't even give birth to a boy. How selfish you are. The second son's wife, who is also upset with the whole situation, said, "Don't you have any shame in blatantly favoring the eldest son? Especially when in an ordinary family with no significant assets? Whether it's a boy or a girl, having a child without any health issues is the most important and difficult thing to do. Don't you understand that simple thing after having 3 children? Well, the man in his family don't even know that giving birth is a life risk." The second son's wife stared at her husband. Then she picked up the son, who was being held by a relative. "I didn't give birth to a child for this family. When Matthew has a boy, that baby will come first than any other children anyway. What kind of a mother would shut up when her children were treated like garbage? I can't raise children with a father like you laughing out when you shouldn't. I'll get custody of my son, and I'll never see you again." What? The second son's wife also handed over the divorce papers, and the third son's wife followed. You may not understand how precious it is to be blessed with a child, but you only have boys and don't even pay attention to girls? And when your 2 brothers get divorced, it is my turn to get all the bullies from your mother, nagging me to give birth to a boy. So, I want to insulate ourselves from this house to protect our family. You can choose to divorce me, or you can choose to leave this crazy family and protect your own. Wait, what? The youngest son's wife also served him with divorce papers. The husbands were in a panic with the divorce papers from all 3 wives, all the relatives looking uncomfortable, and the mother-in-law's trembling with anger. Don't you guys take everything upon yourselves? What? Who is the selfish one here? Don't you realize how selfish and insane you are? What? I don't think I can have a proper conversation with you. I'm going to ask for a lawyer. So, keep that in mind. Hey, Sophia. I'm sure you'll hearing from my lawyer later. We'll talk through to him. Whoa, What the hell?
You only have one choice. You can't choose both this house and me.
No. Wait.
We, 3 wives, left our confused husbands and went back to our parents' house. After that, I divorced my husband. My ex-husband came to my parents' house every day. He had left all the housework to me without taking care of his children and had been having an affair. So I ended up getting more alimony than I expected. I noticed the affair when I checked our joint savings account.
What? It's gone.
There was 60,000 in there, and now it's not there. This was something we had discussed as a couple and saved for emergencies. I wanted to believe my intuition was wrong. So I requested an investigation immediately. But as a result, I found out that he was having an affair. He took advantage of the fact that my ex-mother-in-law hates me and told her he wanted to divorce me.
Actually, I'm thinking of divorcing Sophia.
Great! Then I'll kick her out of this house for you. It's best to get rid of such a hopeless wife. He didn't know that the money was jointly owned by 2 of us. And then he got caught in the affair. How stupid he was. The alimony and child support payments are going to wipe out that savings. The second son's wife also divorced him after fighting a case to court. She got custody of their son.
Please don't take my son away from me. My mom told me not to be taking him away. He is the heir.
What? What did you say? The second son cried and pleaded at the mediation. Because he added a few unnecessary words, he didn't get any visitation with his son. They even issued a restraining order against him because of the risk of him being taken away. The youngest brother did a lot of research on childbirth and parenting. He realized how bad the family's tradition was and apologized to his wife.
I'm really sorry. My family was crazy. I know that now. I'm going to cut a tie with my mom and dad. I'm going to protect my own family as a husband.
That's how he told his mother, and he really did cut a tie. The mother-in-law, ex-husband, and second brother are all blaming each other. And it's an ugly fight. The ex-husband and the second son can't afford to pay alimony and child support. They are having a hard time.
Why is this happening when we finally have a baby boy? It's your fault, Mom. We have to pay alimony and child support. We're in huge debt.
It's your fault for having an affair. In the end, my ex-husband and the second son left their mother. The 2 sons and grandchildren were gone. And my ex-mother-in-law is now living a lonely life by herself. I had been preparing for my divorce, so I was able to move on smoothly and start a new life. My ex-husband pays me child support every month. I plan to live a steady life for my daughters.
Mom, we ran a race at daycare today.
Oh, really? I'm sure you must be tired then.
You were tired from your work too, Mom.
I'm okay, honey. Thank you. All right, let's eat. What makes me the happiest now? It's seeing my children's cheerful and smiling faces. Using the money from my ex-husband and his adulterous partner, we are planning to go on our first family vacation overseas.
My brother is dead, and you are thinking about such a thing? I can't believe it. I can't be with you anymore.
My husband Jaden loudly shouted me during the funeral, but I knew that he was just faking his true intention. His body smells of perfume, just like his dead brother's wife.
I want a divorce. Divorce me immediately.
Okay, let's get a divorce then. My husband was stunned for a minute when I accepted the divorce easily, but gradually he began to grin.
He probably thinks he can be happy with his dead brother's wife, now that he's divorced from me. That's not that easy. I whispered to myself so that no one could hear me. My name is Stella. I live with my husband Jaden and my mother-in-law. My parents already passed away and I have no siblings. My mother-in-law warmly welcomed me as if I were her daughter. I was so happy to have a family because I had been alone and depressed with no one to rely on. I love my mother-in-law and appreciate her very much. My husband had a younger brother, Bobby. Bobby is married to a young woman, and they live near my parents-in-law's house. When I joined the family, Bobby welcomed me with open arms and had the same kindness that my mother-in-law had. We live close to each other, so my brother-in-law's family and our family sometimes travel together. I was very happy with my new family, but those happy days were coming to an end. One day, my brother-in-law Bobby was rushed to the emergency room. I left work and was rushed to the hospital. In the hospital room, my mother-in-law was crying. I sat by her side and asked about his condition. He seemed to have passed the critical stage, but the doctor told us that it was still too early to tell. I held my mother-in-law's shoulder and encouraged her that everything would be okay. Still no sign of my husband or my brother-in-law's wife. I wanted them to come as soon as possible, because my mother-in-law must have needed them too. My husband was on an urgent business trip, but it seems he's on his way to the hospital now. But my mother-in-law is at the loss. The fact that she can't even get in touch with Bobby's wife, Karen. I'm wondering if there is any way to contact her. But there was nothing we could do if we couldn't get in touch with her. We just kept waiting and waiting. I wonder how much time passed. Suddenly, we heard footsteps approaching to the hospital room. It was my husband and Bobby's wife, Karen. He explained the situation and brought her to the hospital too. And brought her to the hospital with him. I was glad that they were able to meet up with each other. I was so relieved. But then, I felt a strange sensation. My husband, he smells different. Oh, is he wearing perfume? But I knew it somewhere. I looked over and saw Karen holding my brother-in-law's hand. A few days later, my brother-in-law passed away. The wake and the funeral had gone without a hitch, and things had settled down to a certain extent. I noticed that my husband was taking care of Karen in a very friendly way. It is true that she must be in more pain than I am, because her husband just passed away, and she probably needs a lot of emotional care. However, she seemed to be very close to my husband, and even seems to be having a good time. I found myself doubting their relationship when her beloved husband was gone, and I felt intense self-loathing. I guess I have just a bad way of looking at things, and that's how my husband takes care of the situation. Besides, it would be better for Karen to be happy than to be depressed. I thought about it and stopped thinking about it after that. But maybe I should have thought about it more carefully. After a while, my husband made a shocking revelation to me. There's something I want you to hear. I was folding laundry at the time when my husband said that. I stopped and faced him because he was talking to me with such a serious look in his eyes. I've been missing something ever since my brother passed away. It's a wound that won't go away. Even when I'm with you, it wouldn't heal. I was shocked, to be honest. I thought I was taking care of my husband in my own way. I was trying to do for him what my mother-in-law did for me. But that didn't seem to be enough. It hadn't been that long since my brother-in-law passed away. I was trying not to show that I was upset, nodding and listening to the rest of the story. But I've met someone who makes up for that. Yes, you see, it's Karen, Bobby's wife. She, too, said losing her husband and left a hole in her heart. I think there are some things that can be filled only by those who have lost someone they love. The wind has changed. I have a bad feeling. I try to deny in my heart that it couldn't be true, but to no avail. The love of my life was my brother's wife, Karen. Please, divorce me. My head was spinning. What the hell is he talking about? At that moment, I remembered what had happened at the hospital.
My husband was on a business trip and Karen was out of touch. They showed up at the hospital together, smelling the same perfume.
Karen is my destiny. I know that now. We just met in the wrong order.
That's why he was so obsessed with her. You've been planning to do it for a long time, haven't you? That's what I found myself saying.
What do you mean? Are you saying I've been having an affair for a while?
I came back to myself in surprise at my husband's fury. I explained to him how I had thought that, even though it had come out of my mouth unconsciously. But the more I told him about the perfume and how friendly he was taking care of her, the more I said, the more I was laying out the allegations of infidelity. My husband felt attacked and his mood soared. He showed his displeasure and made it clear to me.
We're still grieving, and you're talking about such a thing? I can't believe it. I can't be with you anymore.
And my husband left. The sight of my husband's back as he left, and the fact that he told me that I was not his life partner. The accident and the shock hit me at the same time, and all I could do was cry. It was so painful that I felt like I had to do something, or else I wouldn't be able to handle it. I picked up my brother-in-law's belongings. Bobby was into taking photos and kept a neat album of his photos. I opened it to see a picture of us on a trip together. The happiness in the photo is no longer here, and that I may have destroyed even the possibility of feeling it. All I can feel is sadness. As I flip through the album and look at the various photos, something slips through the cracks. It was an envelope. A few days later, my husband and I ended up divorcing. When my mother-in-law learned about my husband's story and his intention to divorce, she cried and apologized to me.
I am so sorry for my stupid son. I know you will be happy, Stella. Even though we are separated from each other, you and I are still family. So if you ever need me, please call me immediately.
My mother-in-law was always being good to me, and she has nothing to apologize for. Making such a kind person cry, I was sad than anything to leave my mother-in-law. I moved out of my parents-in-law's house and started living alone. I lived alone before I got married, but I am irresistibly lonely. However, such loneliness only lasted for a while. 2 months later, I got a call from my mother-in-law. Apparently, my ex-husband and Karen moved out on their own. Because of this, my mother-in-law had too much space in her house. She's thinking of getting rid of it and starting a life on her own. But she moves out, she won't have any friends in the neighborhood to rely on. She asked me if it was okay for her to move to a place close to me. Hearing my mother-in-law's voice, as she spoke with a sad smile on her face, I suggested that we move in together. At first, she was reluctant to do so, but I convinced her that I couldn't leave her alone. In the end, we bought an apartment and moved in together. Since we started living together, we became more like real mother and a daughter than ever before. These days went on for a while. I received a call from a number I didn't recognize, and it was her, Karen. I asked her what she wanted after all these years.
How come the house is not there? And what's more, you've been adopted?
I thought my heart would stop in surprise when she suddenly shouted in my ear. There is now another building in the place of my parents-in-law's house that my mother-in-law sold. Since she sold the land, it is not strange that there is a new building there. Also, the adoption was proposed by my mother-in-law when we decided to move in together. The exact opposite of when we suggested we move in together. And I was initially reluctant to ask her to go that far. But my mother-in-law said she wanted to be a real family, and I didn't mind. So I agreed. However, the fact that Karen complained about it made me think that she was also after Bobby's inheritance, which was inherited by my mother. Soon after my mother and I moved in together, it came up many times that Karen might have married my ex-husband for Bobby's money. And now that she had already inherited his fortune, but we managed to keep the rest. I opened my mouth, knowing that the time had come. I don't deserve to be told what to do. We're not family anymore. I want you to be thankful that I didn't ask for alimony for the affair. If that's what you want, I'll ask for it. My ex-husband told my mother that he was divorcing me, and she declared herself insulated from him. Karen seemed a little taken aback by my response, but regained her composure and retorted, "You had accused Jaden of adultery even before we were together, hadn't you? You made him want to leave you. You should be ashamed of yourself." Huh. What if I told you I have proof? Her response is so predictable that I counter with a bit of a snark. Silence flows from the phone. I found that letter. Yes, the envelope. That came out of my brother-in-law's photo album the day my husband left me. The letter was filled with his grudge. The doctor told me I don't have much time. So, when you read this, I won't be around anymore. This letter contains the hidden evidence of my wife's affair with Jaden. If Jaden or Karen finds this letter, they can destroy it all. Then I will have failed miserably. But if you, Stella, find this letter, let my wife and my brother be punished for what they deserve. My brother-in-law's letter also contained his feelings for his wife. After we got married, Karen quit her job. She thought it was my job to make her happy, so she just sat around the house and did nothing. When I told her that we should help each other out a little more, she got upset. And then there were days when she shut me out when she thought I wasn't making enough money. I had a hard time accepting that my wife had changed so much. So if I could work hard and make her life easier, I hoped she would return to her old self. But that was her true self after all. I'm so ashamed that I didn't see it. If my ex-husband and Karen hadn't gotten involved, I wouldn't have tried to make things worse. But if I let her misdeeds go any further, I had to take action for my late brother-in-law. I'll destroy them both. Bobby saw through you two a long time ago, and he had gathered all the evidence. And I am going to ask you to pay alimony. It was easy to imagine her shaking over the phone. She's trying to sound as strong as she can, with that shaky voice of hers. There is no way you can ask for alimony now that we're married. That's a bluff. You are trying to scare me, but it's not going to work. I'll sue you for blackmail. Be my guest. Paying for a lawyer costs a lot, you know? Well, I'm sure it's a waste of money. You seem to have studied the division of property, but you didn't learn about adultery. So naive. You thought Bobby didn't know anything about it, did you? I didn't flinch at all. Then she hung up the phone violently. Later, I filed a claim for alimony with my ex-husband and his new wife through a lawyer. After a while, my ex-husband contacted my mother. Apparently, he wanted to leave Karen and live with my mother. Karen's original bad character, combined with her anger at being charged with alimony. She seemed to be doing pretty much whatever she wants to do to my ex-husband. My ex-husband's voice is so tired. It's hard to believe they were newlyweds. Like my late brother-in-law, he failed to see her true nature. It's amazing what blood can do to you. I'm sitting next to my mother, talking on the phone. Come on, Mom. I didn't know she was like that. I can't live with her anymore. I just want to be with you and my Stella again. What the hell? You're the one who said she wasn't the one and left. I won't allow a man to hurt my daughter. I won't let you live with us. If you are really sorry, you'll first pay the alimony. If you do anything to me or Stella, I'll call the police. No, Mom, please. I can hear the pathetic voice of my ex-husband on the phone. But he is, after all, my mother's own blood. She couldn't forgive him, so she gave him mercy. If you really can't pay the alimony, I'll pay for you instead of a living will. In exchange, you must forego all inheritance after my death, and never to appear in front of us again. My ex-husband had no choice but to accept my mother's last act of mercy. We never heard from them again. My mother and I still spend time together. When we are happy, we rejoice together. And when we are sad, we comfort each other. And if we have a bad day, we've strengthened our bond enough to be able to clash with each other. Bobby, I've got your revenge. I still remember my brother-in-law. Although we are not related by blood, now I have a strong bond with my mother, and we will live happily together as a family.
Mom, you stole it, didn't you? I'm calling the police on you for breaking in and stealing.
It's all your fault. You're gonna get arrested.
Huh? My husband and my daughter accusing me of something I have no idea about. What are they really talking about? I've got enough. I live with my husband Mason and my daughter Riley. My daughter got a job at a local company after graduating from high school and still lives at home. Just the other day, she got engaged to her boyfriend whom she had been dating since high school. My daughter was super spoiled by my husband, so she helps out nothing at home and can't do any housework at all. She spends most of her time at home on the couch with my husband. I was a little worried that she wouldn't be able to make it through a marriage.
Hey, put away these bottles and garbage. Quickly. And bring me another beer.
What? I'm doing the dishes.
Do it yourself. Don't you talk back to me. I'm the one who brings money to this house.
He's always telling me he's the one making all the money. My daughter is always taking the side of my husband, who spoils her. She hates me for nagging her. Riley, take your clothes to the washing machine yourself. And I told you put your jacket on the hanger. I'll do it later. You annoying. No, do it now. He always forget and leave the laundry on the table. Stop bugging me, Mom. You're living on Daddy's money. With my husband's influence, even my daughter talks to me in this terrible way. I was trying to teach her to grow up and be independent, but I guess she didn't get it. I spend my day taking care of my husband and my daughter, and it's not a very cheerful life. One day, when she was getting ready to go out for a weekend, Riley, isn't that my necklace? Yeah, so what? I noticed that my daughter was wearing my necklace. I don't mind if she wears it, but it's not fine for her to do it without telling me. It's fine if you want to wear it, but at least should say something about it. You're annoying. Daddy said I could have it, so that's fine. What? Why does he get to decide what's mine? I talked to my husband who was chilling in the living room. How can you give my necklace to Riley without my permission? It's mine, you know. Why don't you check with me first?
Huh? What are you talking about? I'm the one who makes all the money. And I'm the one who sets the rule in this house. I say the necklace belongs to Riley. It's Riley's.
What is that?
You heard me. Stop nagging now. If you don't obey me, you can get out of this house.
He won't listen to me at all and even asked me to leave. I'm completely fed up with him. I can't take any more of his arrogance and selfishness. As he wished, I left home and went back to my parents' house immediately. The next day, while I was taking a rest at my parents' house, my cell phone rang. I opened it and saw that my husband had sent me a picture. To my surprise, the picture was of my belongings thrown away in a dumpster. Clothes, books, dishes were scattered all over the place. When I was still in shock, my husband called me.
Did you see the picture? I threw away your stuff just like that. Don't ever come back.
What the? I didn't expect him to harass me like this.
I hurriedly drove to the dump site by my house in anger. Just as I was loading the dirty stuff, my daughter came out of the house.
Mom, what are you doing?
Riffling through the garbage? Super lame. It's because your dad doing this to me.
You totally deserve this, and I can't have a mother like you. Get the hell out.
Don't worry, I'll be gone as soon as I load up my stuff. My daughter sneering at me.
I'm being harassed, and she's going after me like that.
That's too insensitive. As I sorting through my belongings in frustration, I noticed that there was no jewelry of any kind. My jewelry, they're missing.
Huh? I don't know anything about that. I mean, did you buy those stuff with daddy's money, didn't you? You don't need jewelry or anything fancy. You're just a lame stay-at-home mom.
Most of them I bought before we got married. And there are some important gifts from my mother. Even if I bought some with your dad's money, it doesn't mean he can throw it away without permission.
You are going to throw away everything you own when you get married?
I don't think so. I told her that as I packed all my belongings into the car and left. That same night, my daughter called me in a panic.
Mom, you stole my engagement ring.
Riley, what are you talking about? I replied in a cold tone.
It's my engagement ring. Give it back to me.
You saw that I didn't take it with me when I left the house. I'm sure it wasn't even in the dumpster. I don't know where it is.
You still have the key. I know you came back and stole it while I was gone. You wanted to embarrass me.
Well, I never came back.
You're the only one who can do this. I am calling the police on you for breaking in and stealing.
It seems like she's decided to accuse me of being a thief. I was disgusted, but continued to argue with her. You can call the police, but I really don't know anything about it. Actually, my jewelry was sold to a pawn shop, so maybe Daddy sold your ring. After that, I searched every pawn shop in the area and found them. I managed to buy them back.
What? He would never do that.
You're saying I did that? Don't be stupid. You're the one who stole it and sold it.
That's right. You're the thief.
My husband joined in with my daughter, acting like he's innocent. Then why don't we check the security cameras in the house? What? Don't be silly.
I think we'd better go to the pawn shop before someone buys it.
Yeah, why don't you take your dad? We can find out who sold your engagement ring.
Okay then, let's go look for it at the pawn shop.
Wait! I told my daughter about the pawn shop where I found my jewelry, and we all met up in front of the store. My husband clearly didn't want to go. Hello, may I help you?
Hello, we're looking for a certain ring for sale here.
You mean that gentleman behind wrote yesterday? Do you want to buy it back?
Yes, we do. Right, Mason?
What? Dad? Why?
My daughter was in shock, and my husband is silent as he was being punished. Anyway, my husband bought back the engagement ring. When we left the store, my husband snapped at me. I got rid of all your personal belongings. Get rid of my daughter's ring. You intentionally made me find the ring when you break into the house. This is all your fault, and you are going to be arrested. What? What a messed up excuse. You should be ashamed of yourself. Shut up. It's your fault. You disobeyed me and ran away from home. I bought Riley's ring back, so I'll forgive you too if you apologize for what you did. You can't make a living on your own anyway.
What am I apologizing for? Where does he stand on this? At my husband's stupidness, I finally lost my patience and lost my temper. Your messed up rules don't apply to the rest of the world. If a wife came home before the divorce, it won't be trespassing. Just because she moved things around the house doesn't make her a criminal. On the contrary, if a husband throws away all his wife's stuff, while at the same time pulling out jewelry and selling them for money, he is a criminal. I don't have to live with a criminal. I have money.
You're lying. You live on Dad's money, don't you?
The money he brings in isn't enough to live on. I showed my daughter the household account book app on my phone and explained, but she didn't seem to believe me. What would you have done with the money if you didn't have enough? You don't work, Mom, right? I've been supporting the family by doing some internet business. We needed that extra money.
I don't know anything about that.
I told your dad that we didn't have enough money to live on. So I started working to bring in some money. But he just got mad at me and said I was just a housewife and I can't make any money. After that, we stopped talking about money because it was too much trouble.
Seriously?
They were both speechless with the truth. But I declared the divorce right there. I'm never coming home again. Just like you wanted. Riley, you can live with your dad. In the meantime, I'm going to ask you to pay for the cost buying back the jewelry and the alimony.
Huh?
I got a lot of stares from the neighbors while I was picking up my stuff from a dumpster. I could sue you for defamation of character, you know.
Wait, what? Wait! Don't do it!
I went after them, and they turned pale and scowled.
Come on, Nikki. I'm sorry.
Stop messing around.
Please, don't divorce me.
Yeah, Mom. I'm sorry too. Don't do this. My husband and my daughter rushed to apologize, but I told them it was too late. He just doesn't want to pay the money or have the police or lawyer call on him. My daughter doesn't want her father to get caught by the police and ruin the marriage. You're just pretending to apologize. I know you don't feel sorry for what you've done. After that, my husband didn't sign the divorce papers for a while.
I beg you, please, start over.
Well, if you pay the alimony and the settlements right now, I'll let you off the hook. But if you don't, I'll file a divorce settlement and I'll call the police. You'd rather lose the money and the family or add bad reputation on top of that. You know what I'm talking about? As soon as I told him that, he signed the divorce papers. He paid me the amount of alimony and settlement money I requested. As for my daughter, her boyfriend ended up breaking off the engagement. While I gained their sympathy, my ex-husband and my daughter were rumored by neighbors to be psycho. Unfortunately, my daughter's fiancé's family heard about it and they decided to break off the engagement. So, she ended up living with her dad. When she found out how much money her father was putting into the house, she contacted me. I can't live with my dad. He doesn't even have any savings. It's your fault for breaking up my engagement. You should take responsibility. Come help us, Mom. She is still selfish as ever and shows no remorse. She tried to turn her back on her father and turned to me. But I said no. I can't do that, honey. Why? Why, Mom? I turned off the phone and blocked her number. She is an adult now. She needs to learn how to take care of herself. And so my ex-husband and my daughter live in a small space, with everyone around them looking at them like they're crazy.
Hey, Riley, you do the laundry, okay?
No, I'm cleaning. You do the laundry.
What? Don't talk back to me like that.
You don't make a lot of money, so don't act like you do. They're forced to do all the housework they're not used to, and the money was tight. It's not hard to imagine their relationship is getting worse every day. As for me, I am starting over in a new town. I'm enjoying the freedom of living alone, without being bound by other people's stupid rules. Living a carefree and cheerful life at my own pace, while continuing to work from home. It's so easy to do my own meals, cleaning, and laundry. I have more free time and a lot of money. I'm ready to start something new.